Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Get Pucked podcast live edition of the NHL Draft. It's here, baby. It's here.
We're here. It's what we've been waiting for.
It's
All
what we've
this
been
hype,
waiting for.
all this talk, all these rumors. Where's Michkov going? Is he going to the Habs? Is he going
Michkov.
somewhere else? Who knows? All we know is that no matter how you spin it, no matter what happens, you're gonna find some unhappy people.
The only for sure is Bedard goes one. After that, it is a complete crapshoot. We have no idea where anybody's going. And I think that makes for the most fun for these types of things, personally. Who's going to be there at 5? Are they going to keep 5 when the picks get down? When right after San Jose picks, are we going to see Bettman walk up? I have a trade to announce. Everybody's heart's going to jump out of their chests. I don't know. I'm excited, but you know what?
There's two guarantees here.
Go.
Bedard's
Tell me
getting
the
picked
guarantees.
one, and Bettman will get booed. Every time he goes to that podium, he's going to get booed. Everything else is a surprise this draft. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm in agreement. I think those are the two certainties of life tonight. But let's get it out there now. Let's one last time for the record. What's going to happen? Give me your prediction. I'll give you my prediction.
What are we talking about in terms of trades or draft picks?
Well, do they pick at 5? And if they do, who are they taking? And if they don't pick at 5, where are they going?
Unless they get blown out of the water from a ridiculous offer, a ridiculous trade, they're definitely picking at 5. They would have to get some kind of package that's like too good to refuse. You know what I mean? Already you're hearing that both of Nashville's picks and Askarov is not enough. So anybody who thought it's not. It really isn't. So anybody who thought that would be enough, there's no chance. I mean, you and I tried to go through the rosters and see where you can maybe come up with a package from the different teams that are just behind Montreal, and it wasn't that easy to do. There wasn't many things that I could say that I would be willing to trade the 5th overall for to move down. However, if they were to move down and trade away that pick, I can't see them going further back than 2, max 3 spots. So Nashville, as much as they want to make a big splash because the draft is in Nashville and it's Barry Trotz's first go as at a GM, at being a GM, I don't see it happening for Nashville. I don't see it happening.
But are you long-winded me here? Give me your prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Don't talk to me about Nashville.
Montreal's going to pick 5th. They're not going to trade down.
Okay. Who are they taking?
It will all depend. It depends. I mean, you had Anaheim already. There's rumors that they might go for Michkov. Elliot Friedman suggested that maybe they could go for Michkov at 2, and which would throw everything at a complete loop, and things would go nuts. So it depends how it plays out. You know what? This is what I'll say. I'll say this. If by the time Montreal's speaking and Will Smith is still there, I think Montreal's keeping that pick. Or if Leo Carlson is still there, Montreal's keeping that pick. Anybody who was supposed to go in the top 5, not named Michkov, if they're still there where Montreal's speaking, they're going to keep that pick. If by the time they're speaking and they have to decide between Michkov, Leonard, Benson, Reinbacher, they may consider trading down if they get a good enough package. So I'm going to say I'll say that they keep it. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say they're going to keep the pick and they're going to make the pick at number 5. I don't think there's anybody behind them that can offer them anything good enough for them to do something different.
Okay.
What I will say is I
don't think you're crazy. I think they're probably. I mean, I think they're going to probably keep the pick also. I think likely it's going to be Michkov. I think it's actually going to happen. At the same time, is it possible that he trades down? I'm not going to say no, but I think like most people have been saying, I mean, it has to be an offer that makes absolutely just you can't turn it away. And I only think that there's a handful of teams that can do that. I mean, realistically, I just don't think that, first off, Nashville is far too far back to move all the way back there. What they would have to give to overcompensate for that fact, I don't think they would want to do that. And I don't think that it's a practical trade to make. That said, I would look at Philly. Obviously, we've been talking about that. We talked about that a little while back. Philly is a potential target. Arizona less so to my belief, although we did talk earlier, you and I, about what we thought maybe Arizona might do, being the insane franchise that they are.
Mhm.
We can play around with that topic in a bit, but yeah, I think ultimately we're going to see them pick at 5, and while yes, I think Will Smith is their guy, I don't think he's going to be there by the time it's their pick. Um, it would be exciting to see them have to choose between Carlson and Michkov. I think that would be like, whoa, what are they going to do? Because if it's Michkov and really anybody else, I think they go with Michkov. I really do. I don't think it was tradecraft what he was
If
doing.
Michkov ends up at when Montreal, sorry, Michkov. If Carlson's there when Montreal's speaking, they're going to take Carlson over Michkov. The guy was the consensus third overall pick. Everyone was projecting him to go third overall to the Columbus Blue Jackets. If he's there by the time Montreal speaks, because all of a sudden Anaheim, went nuts, so to speak, and they decided to take Michkov at 2, and it just brought everything down and shifted all the players in the top 5, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to see Carlson just end up with the Montreal Canadiens. Can you say no to that? Would you be unhappy? I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. I know a lot of people are a little tentative about Michkov. Obviously, you got these random people coming out of the woodworks, all of a sudden reporting that he has like issues with his teammates and character
Well,
issues.
here, this
I
is
don't know about
crazy.
any of that.
Something crazy is coming up here. Kevin Weeks just tweeted rumblings from NHL Draft. I'm also hearing there's a chance the Preds top goalie prospect could be on the move via trade, perhaps to the Montreal Canadiens.
There's no way, dude. If he does that, it better not be Askarov 15 and 22 only. It better not be. It better not be, man. That would make no sense to me. None. Like actual none.
Like, I'm starting to get actually scared about this, man. It
Like
really, it can't.
that's
It's not
not
enough.
good.
It's not
That's
enough.
not good. That's not
It's not
enough.
enough.
It's not enough. But now you got to start scouring through their team. Who else would you take? Who else do you take? Or does he make the Preds eat some
Okay.
salary?
If it makes you feel a little better, Riddle of Why just came out. At the moment, I'm going to translate it. He wrote it in French, but at the moment, there's no indication that Montreal is going to trade their first round pick. There's a stronger chance, and it's more likely that they're going to keep their pick. But either way, a call can kind of change it.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. Literally nobody. They have no clue. They have no clue what's going on. This is amazing. Now I'm reading here. There's no shortage of people who think that the Ducks are going to take Carlson.
Yeah, I actually saw that earlier. Wouldn't that be crazy, huh? Wouldn't that Fantilli drops a spot to Columbus because Anaheim decides to take Carlson?
Fundamentally, it's going to be funny to see where they all land, but it doesn't really matter because all these guys were already projected to be taken ahead of the Habs. So if they're gone at 2 or gone at 4, they're gone. And it depends who's left. That's the most important question. That's the most important question. Are all the rumors about Will Smith true? That certain teams in I think it was Columbus that's coveting him really, really badly?
They like him.
So is that true? Or are they going to take Fantilli if he's there? Is Fantilli going to be there at 2
Dude,
or
that's a stupid question. If Fantilli makes it to Columbus at 3, they're taking Fantilli over Will Smith.
why? Fantilli was there at 2 and the Ducks didn't take him.
But if the Ducks are going to pass on Fantilli, it's because the rumors that people are, have speculated, which again, they're rumors because everyone has, even Elliot Friedman said, while it wouldn't be crazy to see Anaheim take Michkov, they don't really know because Verbeek doesn't tell anybody anything. He keeps it to himself. He's like Iserman for that. You don't know what's going to happen within
Nobody
that guy's mind.
knows anything.
No,
I'm
some
just
things are
putting
confirmed. There's
on the
some things
sound
that,
just a little bit here because I'm watching it here on my other screen.
like,
I mean,
where there's smoke, there's fire. There's some things that is going to happen. But
dude, there is so much smoke
I guess my question is,
everywhere.
what do you think is the what would you think is the biggest surprise in this draft?
What would be the biggest surprise? Um, I mean, I don't know if it would be a big surprise, but if the Habs keep 5 and Michkov keeps falling, I would be
If
pretty surprised if
Michkov
he
keeps
makes it past
falling,
5.
there's no way he makes it past 8, even if he does keep falling. Washington's
Well,
gonna pick,
well,
and Philly's gonna
I would
pick that.
be I would be personally very surprised if he gets to 5 and he's not taken at 5. Like, because in my mind, the way I'm seeing this play out is if he's there at 5 and the Habs don't want him, they're making a trade. Why would they not make a trade and move back with the team and get something else to, it would just wouldn't make any sense. So if they stay at 5 and don't take him, that would be the biggest surprise to me. Other than that, if you want to talk about things that could never possibly happen, if Fantilli drops to like 4 or 5, because everybody's got these crazy mock-ups that like Will Smith and Carlson and Michkov are going to go ahead.
Well, I'll say this:
That
I forgot which site had Will Smith dropping to 6. That would be the biggest surprise for me, is if Will Smith gets to the
Never.
Habs and the Habs say no. So
never going to happen.
There's no chance. Okay, so I told you who I think they're going to draft. I still think that if Will Smith gets the Montreal Canadiens, doesn't matter if Michkov's there or whatnot, they're going to go for Will Smith. Okay, it's just that's what the link with Kent Hughes is just too strong there.
I think it's the safer bet. It's the safer bet. I'm not saying it's the right play, but it's the safer play. And I don't necessarily know if Kent Hughes and Gorton get criticized terribly if that's the move they make.
The only
time will tell, but I don't think so.
The only player that they can draft that would really piss people off is if they took Reinbacher at 5.
The nightmare scenario. The nightmare scenario. Yeah.
But to a certain extent, I understand, right? Because if you're interested in Reinbacher, if you're the Montreal Canadiens and you want Reinbacher, you could probably trade down 2 picks, collect more assets, and still get Reinbacher anyway. Now, with that being said, there's a couple of people and analysts and scouts who have speculated that Reinbacher could go in the top 5. I don't think he's going to go in the top 5, but if he does, wouldn't that throw things out of whack from the projections?
I can't see that happening, man.
But that's the
chance.
That's the only way. That would probably be my biggest surprise. Honestly, when I think about it, is Reinbacher somehow coming because he's the best defensive prospect in this draft pool right now. That he somehow moves into the top 6.
It would 100% be the biggest surprise, and it's so unlikely to happen because the forward talent is that strong that you couldn't possibly make sense by taking Reinbacher that high. It just, you couldn't justify it. I couldn't see how any GM can come out and say, yeah, whatever. Carlson was there, but we really wanted Reinbacher. We really like his game and stuff. Like, nobody is suggesting that this guy is in the top 5 players to be picked in this draft. Nobody. And if you are, I would like to know the medication that you're on. Now, is he going to be a really good defenseman in the NHL? This is very likely. I would bet that he's going to be one. But a lot of people are suggesting that his game, his offensive game, is not there for him to be a 1 on a team. And if you're not going to be a 1 on a team, how could you possibly be taken in the top 10?
Well, top 10 would make sense, just not top 5.
I don't even know. I wouldn't be surprised if he slips out of top 10.
There's value in being a right-handed defenseman. That's the thing. That's what makes his value, and the fact that he's got a good hockey IQ, and he could move as well as he can for a guy of his size. It's the fact he's a right-handed defenseman that shoots up his value. Because if it was any other draft where this draft was more, where the strength was on defense, then yeah, he probably wouldn't be as coveted as he is.
He's shining now because of like how few star defensive prospects there are in the draft. I mean, if you're the best of what's there, then obviously you're going to look that much better. And again, I'm not necessarily saying this is going to be a terrible pick for whoever takes him. And if he gets picked at 9 all the way to whatever, like in the mid-teens, like you're going to get a very, very good defenseman to play for your team. I simply look at it, and again, I take this with a grain of salt. I think it's important to say that at the end of the day, we don't really know these guys. We know what other people say. We've seen very little of their actual game themselves. We haven't been following their junior careers for years or whatever. So from what I've been reading about Reinbacher, he is a very strong defensive defenseman. And those don't typically get to the 1D of the team.
There are some players that we followed, but yeah, Reinbacher is not one of the guys that we followed closely. That's for sure.
Yes.
So now Kevin Weeks is actually having to explain himself because there's a certain
Everybody
contingent
lost their
of Habs
minds.
that lost their minds about that last tweet that that maybe Askarov could be heading to the Montreal Canadiens because he's hearing certain rumblings. Poor guy has to explain himself. Can't say anything in Montreal, especially if it's things that people don't want to hear. Can't do it. Can't do it. We'll crucify you. That's just the way it is.
All I see is him actually responding to some random dude saying like, real question. When was the last time Kevin Weeks actually broke anything? And he writes back, you could check my timeline and the millions of views on much of the news I've broken. Numbers and the clock don't lie, my man. Hope you're having a great night in Berta, though.
Well, look, in recent years, in the last couple of years, Kevin Weeks has been one of the best trade breakers.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
He's definitely been one of the best, for sure.
It's gonna be something, man. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows what's up. He tweeted that out about the rumbling thing 9 minutes ago, right? He has 628 likes and 207 retweets. You think Habs fans are a little bit antsy?
Well, of course we are. Of course we are.
Oh my God.
We don't know what's going to happen. There's been rumors left, right, and center. I mean, even Habs Fan TV caught up with Kent Hughes and Vincent Lecavalier, and they asked him about Michkov, and he smirked. Right?
What's he gonna do?
No, but it's just to say, right? It's
keep a stone face. No, I'm not.
Nobody
gonna tell
knows.
You nothing.
Nobody really knows what's happening, and nobody will know until
you know what?
A few minutes before.
I don't know if it's going to be for the better or the detriment of the team. There's something deep down in me that just would love to see Bettman walk up to the podium before 5, say there's a trade, and it be this insane, like maybe 3-team insane trade. Like, I think that would be hilarious. I think Twitter would actually go nuts. It'd be so much fun to watch. I don't know. I think that would be a lot of fun, personally. What is this here? Elliot Friedman gives Montreal's percentage to keep the 5th overall pick is upwards of 50%.
Well, yeah, obviously. But
literally has no idea what's going to happen. There's a greater than 50% chance they keep 5, but it almost comes down to a toss-up. That's what I like from my GM, man. That's what I like. Get nuts. Keep everyone guessing. Keep all the other GMs in your pocket. Don't make a move until the last second. Oh, it's going to be good. I'm so excited.
You know what?
Oh my God.
For the sake of this, I'm going to actually play a video. One we've already uploaded. It's our promo video for the draft. I feel like we could hype it up for a few minutes before the draft starts and see how it goes. I hope you enjoy. Oh.
The NHL Draft. A moment that can change the course of a franchise forever. It's a time where dreams come true, as young talents rise to the occasion. And for the Montreal Canadiens, they're poised to make a monumental choice. The city of Montreal pulses with anticipation.
With the 15th overall selection, the Montreal Canadiens select from the U.S. National Development Program, Cole Caulfield.
Fans are buzzing as they eagerly wait to see who will don the iconic red, white, and blue jersey. The energy is electric, and the stage is set for a massive announcement. In the war room, the Canadiens management team is hard at work, meticulously analyzing every prospect. They're searching for that perfect puzzle piece, the player who will slot into the plan.
Avec notre premier choix au repêchage, with our first pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, les Canadiens de Montréal sont fiers de repêcher from the Slovakian national team and TPS Turku, Juraj Slafkovsky.
The vision of what they see this team becoming. The talent pool is brimming with promise. Touted as one of the best draft classes in years. There is no shortage of superstar caliber players for the Habs to select with their 5th overall pick. No doubt the draft floor will be packed with passionate fans, eagerly awaiting their team's next move.
The Montreal Canadiens are proud to select from the WHL Carey Price.
The atmosphere will be electric as whispers and speculation fill the air. Who will be the one chosen? The one to help bring their team to the next level. And for the Canadiens, back to being one of the top teams in the league. But this isn't just any team we're talking about. This is the Habs. This is a franchise steeped in tradition, with a legacy that reaches back to the earliest days of the sport. The pressure to succeed here is palpable, as the city yearns for that return to greatness. Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton have shocked everyone before with last-minute trade deals right there on the draft floor. Will there be another this year? Only time will tell. Tension and excitement have been building since the end of the season. Every Habs fan is desperate to hear those words. The Montreal Canadiens are proud to select. The only question left is, who's it going to be? And we're about to find out.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Well done to you, sir. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. It started. Here
It's
we go.
starting.
It's
By the
starting.
way, did you happen to catch that? It didn't say which team it was, but the toughest question David Reinbacher got asked about going
It was
to, if you were in World War II and you're the
terrible
captain
question.
of a boat, you have to bomb an
Terrible
enemy
question.
boat, but teammates are sort of like, who the hell asks this stuff?
I don't know, man. They try
Like,
to
who
think out of
cares?
the box. I can kind of appreciate that you're trying to like think of a way to put a person in position to be like, you know, what would you do to assess their character? I just think it's a really dumb question first to ask, and you got to also take into context the player you're asking. The fact that he is from Austria and with what happened, it just is not a good look. It's just a silly thing to have done. There's better ways to have asked a question to ascertain a kid's personality. So I don't know. Silly, and really dumb. And I'm happy that it wasn't the Habs because I think he confirmed it wasn't the Canadiens.
Thank God. But there's a lot of people
Oh man,
tweeting out that they expect the Habs to actually acquire a goalie during this draft. Not even picking a goalie.
I don't
acquire
know.
one. I just don't.
Oh, acquiring would be. I mean, I don't know, dude. We're back to Askarov again.
No, I didn't say Askarov. I didn't say Askarov because, like, I mean, it's coming out. It's like upwards of 50%. Kent Hughes just said that they're gonna keep the pick and make their selection at 5.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. The fact that Carey Price is at the table and he was the last player that they picked at 5, and all of these things lining up for him to come out and do this thing. I mean, is that a telltale sign? Do we have to read into this? I don't know. But I know one thing. The first pick is coming up, and that one is a foregone conclusion. Easy, simple, go up, shake hands. He should be standing at the side, by the way. He shouldn't even be next to any of his parents or anything. Just go up to there and just wait. They're going to call you. Just walk right up. Let's not waste the time.
I don't know. Maybe it's because his jersey's on my wall. I'm still not ready, not fully anyways, to see Carey Price be part of the Canadian staff and not stopping pucks in goal. I know I got to accept that fate.
Yeah,
it is what
you got to
is,
accept it. You got to get over it.
It just didn't happen gracefully. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Like, he
if
went to
there's
the
any
Stanley
way
Cup
to,
Finals.
he went to the cup. I mean, what more do you want? Like, he brought this team, he hobbled his ass all the way to the cup, carried them. It's unfortunate how it turned out, but I mean, if there's a way to go out, given the Canadiens the first cup appearance since '93 is a pretty good way to do it.
Oh man, I guess.
Oh, here we go.
Okay,
3
so
minutes.
if all of a sudden it gets to the Montreal Canadiens and they take Leonard,
It's going to be the longest 3 or 5 minutes or however long it is.
are you going to be mad if they take Leonard?
At 5? They stay
Yeah.
at 5 and take Leonard?
Yeah.
Which means Mishkov is there and they take Leonard instead of him? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Are you going to be one of those people that are going to be super mad if you find out?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how I feel about it. I have a lot of faith in the management. They haven't done anything yet to really put me in a position to question their judgment. They clearly know more than every one of our any other fan that's out there, any of the pundits. They're in there. They've done their homework. If they choose him after meeting Mishkov and everything that's gone on since, will I be mad? Absolutely not. Do I personally believe, in my limited knowledge, that Mishkov is a superior hockey player? Yes. And do I believe they should draft the best hockey player available? I do. So in that regard, I'll be a little disappointed. But if they take Leonard, then they know something I don't, and I back whoever they take. It's just like last year. I was pretty confident they were going to take Shane Wright. I was ready to be on the right train. They took Slav instead. I go to the Slav train. I back who they take because this is the GM of the team that I'm got a rooting interest in. That's how I look at it.
So it's coming out more and more. And I mean, Corey Pronman tweeted, it was a while ago, but that Nashville apparently has officially made the offer to the Montreal Canadiens for the 15th, Askarov, and second round pick for the 5th. And I agree with Sam, who replied to this, aka Nashville offers a bunch of garbage.
It's not enough. It's such the problem with that is, as cool as it would be to have Askarov in the pipeline and where he's projected, he still hasn't played really in the NHL. You have no idea what you have in him. You know, you have a tremendous prospect and it could materialize into something great, but it's not enough because the fall off from 5 all the way to 15 is tremendous. Yeah, it's a deep draft, and yeah, you'll probably get a decent player, but it's the caliber. And giving you 25 afterwards, yes, it's another first-round pick. That's wonderful, but already the percentages there play heavily against you. So you're giving me a prospect that hasn't actually played NHL yet. You're giving me 2 much further back picks for my 5th. It's not enough. You got it. You'd have to ramp up. You'd have to give me something else. And I couldn't even begin to formulate what a package from Nashville would be in order for me personally to feel comfortable to drop from 5 to 15. I can't see it. I just can't see it.
They don't have it. They just don't have it. They don't have the assets, in my opinion, to really make it enticing for Montreal to sacrifice that 5th overall pick for 15th and Askarov and a 2nd. That's just not enough. I'm sure there are teams who have already made better offers than that. They're dangling Askarov because, yes, he's got a high ceiling, a lot of potential. There's a lot to love about his game.
Oh, I'd want him. I'd want him with the deal.
Pick.
Yeah, here we go. Is it starting? I think it's starting. There he is. Boo him. I hear some boos.
Ooh, Batman.
I hear some boos.
Boo.
Oh, he brings out David Poile.
Arena's gonna boo this guy.
Look at him. Look at him.
Even when he says we have a trade to announce, they boo first and then cheer.
What a snake.
He's the count.
He brings out Poile to not get booed.
He's the count. Look at him.
Look at this guy.
He's
in his element.
Sesame Street.
He's in his element, this guy.
He loves it. He embraces it. You got to give him that, though. He embraces being the villain.
Yes. Yes.
I want to thank those who are watching and following us right now. Appreciate it.
Oh, man. You know what sucks about this? It's big. It's important. You want to see the pick already with Bedard, but let's get to it. Let's get to it. To the meat.
Of course. Let's get to it.
Whew.
I believe whoever's watching us, you can write in the comments who you think they'll draft at 5.
I don't know. They're gonna trade the pick. I get the feeling they're gonna trade it.
No, I think you're just nervous. I don't think they're gonna trade the pick.
You know what it is? I want the chaos. I think the trade of the pick would be the biggest amount of chaos. I just hope that it's not for something that we all look at and like, what are you thinking?
Well, for the Toronto Maple Leafs,
it's Philly or it's Detroit.
Hold on. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, Dave Pagnotta says contract talks between the Leafs and Austin Matthews continue, but a deal is not yet close. He
Yeah,
loves
but people
Toronto. He
like
wants
Austin
to win.
Matthews.
That much is clear. I'm told his next deal will be 3, 4, 5 years max, not beyond.
Ooh. Give Poyle his dues.
Hey, longest running GM, I think,
Give
right
him
now.
his dues.
The guy lost his eye for the sport. He lost the vision in one eye for this sport.
It's a little nice bit of info. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he was in the. I could be wrong. It was during a practice or something like that, and he was in the hallway or whatever, and the puck just it was like a freak accident. The puck went towards him and it kind of like hit him in the eye,
Like a Final Destination kind of thing, and made like 15 bounces
yeah,
in the eye.
it's something like that. I mean, I could be off on the details a little bit, but something like that happened. Poor guy.
Oh baby.
I feel like they should have brought Shea. Arizona should bring Shea Weber for this.
Pecorine.
I mean, Shea Weber is part of their organization.
Look at this. Imagine they bring Webbs out there. Oh my God. That'd be something. Where's PK?
Oh, there's Pecorine and Roman Yossi.
Yeah. Give him. Play a little tune on it. Smashville.
Come on, let's start the chaos.
Get to it already.
Let's
yes.
get to it.
Shake his hand. Yes. It's nice. You got everybody sitting on the edge
of
the
draft.
Here.
It's the draft. It's not his retirement party. Do the retirement party on his last game. Let's do this. Sorry, Nashville fans.
Oh my Lord.
I love this. Scott Matliff on Twitter.
Come on.
David Poyle seems like the last dude who would want a guitar.
True. I mean, you got to give him his sign off. I mean, that's fine. But I mean, we're sitting here. We're just salivating. We want to know. If anything, this is giving more time for a trade or something to be done, right?
Oh, let it go. Every time people have speculated that a trade was going to happen in the top 5, it doesn't happen.
The second he walks off the stage, I want Bettman to go up to the mic and say, before we get to that first pick, we have a trade to announce.
They'll never say that at the first pick because they're picking.
Who knows? Who knows? I'm not saying it's the Habs. Could be something else.
No. Connor Bedard, usually when it's a team trading away their pick, it's right when
they wait until their turn?
Yes. They're not going to say right now, yeah, we have a trade to announce. By the way, Connor Bedard.
He's embracing the hate. There it is. There you go, Bettman.
That's right. Boo.
Yes. Here we go. Come on. Boo, Chicago.
Now you're talking.
Boo. Do they need it? Take the full 3 minutes. Take the full 3 minutes. I dare you.
They will. Why wouldn't they?
What? What are we waiting for? Like we don't know who they're going to take. Look at him.
Yeah, they're flipping the jersey around. Come on.
Stand up. What are you doing?
Did you see that today? Somebody was walking around asking questions about the NHL draft in Nashville, and they get to Chicago's GM. I didn't even know it was him.
I'm furious that it's taking this long.
Yeah, the full 3 minutes. They're gonna take it. The full 3 minutes. They're actually taking the full 3 minutes for this.
I hate
we all
these
know
guys.
They're taking Connor Bedard. Like, why would they take the full 3 minutes for this? Just go up, make your selection. It's not like there's any question here. Let's go. Come on.
Unbelievable.
I wonder if that guy who was interviewing Kyle Davidson on the streets today is now looking at his screen and being like, "Oh, I interviewed this guy today." Oh no, he's the GM of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Wait a minute. Isn't that dude on the street?
Is that dude who named every former Chicago Blackhawk ever?
Oh my god. I like how everybody on Twitter is losing their mind at Chicago. Get up there already. Get up there.
You don't want to know some of the comments. I don't even want to bring it up. Related to the scandals, and then they take their time, and it's like, my God, everybody relax.
Everybody, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, you see, I love it.
What's the secrets?
Pierre LeBrun, this would be a good time for Kyle Davidson to reintroduce himself for people who didn't know he was the GM of the Blackhawks. I'm telling you, everyone's gonna troll that guy who's interviewing people on the street. Everybody.
Oh, look, the pick is in. Here we go. Who's it gonna be?
You want madness? You want chaos?
Who's it gonna be?
Instead of saying Connor Bedard,
Matvey Michkov. Can you? The world would explode.
I would freak out. I think I might throw my laptop across the room. I will, people. I won't.
There you go. All right. Okay. Boo. Yeah, boo them.
First off, reintroduce yourself.
Boo again.
They're booing Vegas. Why?
Who's it going to be? Oh.
Nobody's watching.
Connor Bedard. Wow. No kidding.
Very proud. Of course, you did a masterclass tank job.
Yeah.
And even got lucky at the lottery.
Oh, nobody tanks like you, Chicago.
What
nobody
a
tanks like
masterclass
you.
tank job. And the people are cheering like they thought that somebody else was going to get selected as the first overall pick.
One down. Here we go.
Yeah, now the other teams are going to take 3 minutes apiece. Let's go.
Oh, boy. You had Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, and now you roll right into the Connor Bedard era. Anyways.
You've already complained about this.
I've already complained about it. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of also forgot. I don't know why, but like in my mind, I'm like, when you pick your player, it's like, okay, and now we move on to the next one. But I forgot that they do the walk up, they put the jersey on, they take the pictures, and it slows down everything.
Well, yeah. But
all right,
it's the moment. It's the moment.
One down. Here we go. Whew. Yeah, they're saying on TVA, it's like the chance of the lottery. Okay, yeah, but the only reason why they were in such a good position in the lottery was because they learned how to sink to the bottom real fast.
Huh.
Well, they put his 98 on the jersey. You see that?
98 on the jersey. Look at that.
Yeah. That's his number, right?
Yeah.
That's odd.
Well, they're saying this is your team, bud. Here you go. This is your team.
But normally speaking, it's always the number of the year. It should be 23, right?
Year, yeah. It should be 23.
Yeah. Oh, that's a little break of convention there.
Oh. Give the keys to the kingdom already. Go for it.
Yep. You're the guy. Why don't they slap a C on his chest immediately?
That's a good question, though. Who's going to be the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks?
Who plays for the Chicago Blackhawks right now? Oh. Go ahead and name me 5 people that play for the Blackhawks right now.
Do I have to?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you don't. Connor Bedard.
But if you want to.
So that's done.
Okay, so now things are going to start getting interesting because
now we get interesting.
Is it going to stick to the projections and the mock drafts that we've all seen where Fantilli do, or is Anaheim going to come out of nowhere and surprise us with Matvey Michkov, or recently, all of a sudden, Leo Carlson. I said Leo's name like a pure Italian there. Leo Carlson.
Leo. It's Leo. Leo Carlson.
In true Italian fashion. Gotta put an Italian spin to that
No,
one.
but you know what? This is the cool part now. Now that we got that out of the way, and yes, Connor Bedard, but now we literally get to figure out where the dice, or rather the dominoes, I should say, start falling. Because it should be Fantilli.
Listen,
it should be.
With the exception of last year, more often than not, the way the mock drafts are, especially Bob McKenzie's mock draft, the way it's usually listed is the way it plays out. Last year, I think the only person who got the projections more or less right was Pronger. And he's the one who projected Shane Wright was going to drop to 4th to Seattle. So
I still think that was wild, by the way. Not going first was one thing. Dropping a 4 is a whole other story.
It was wild because the Montreal Canadiens are the ones who made it wild by selecting Slafkovsky first. Even though a lot of sites and a lot of mock drafts had Slafkovsky going first, because that's how tight it was. It was all a question of what they needed and what they wanted at that point.
Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Imagine they take Michkov at 2.
No, I'll say this: if you see Fantilli at 2, it's gonna pretty much go as you would think. I would expect it to go exactly as you would think.
This is wild stuff, man. They're on the clock, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. We find out what's going to happen.
But I know they got Bedard, but it just feels wrong. It does. It's not the Chicago Blackhawks fans. They actually deserve quite a bit. They've had a good run. They're a very supportive fan base. All of that, but really?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it's because of the obvious tanking that they did. I know the whole thing with everything that's happened within the organization. That's not. I mean, it's not a good thing. You don't want to it's almost like quasi just glossing over now because they got that first overall pick and stuff, and it's not good. But I mean, that aside, I've always liked the Blackhawks. I mean, it was my dad's favorite team growing up. I mean, I have a soft spot for them. Original 6, all that. I mean, it's you want those teams to be successful in the league. It helps the league overall. I just don't think maybe this year should have been the year that they net such a monumental player. You know what I mean? I guess that's my take on it. But it happened. So what are you going to do?
It's not rigged and all that, then these things happen. Like, what do you want to do, right?
Yeah, nothing. It's just, it is what it is, and whatever. It's just whatever.
So we're gonna see now. The real draft starts. The real NHL draft starts.
Vegas's admin on Twitter writes, "Dang, Chicago took our guy." Okay. Okay.
Vegas is not going to care for a while now. They got that cup. They're running with it. They made decisions that people question. They sacrificed picks and prospects and all that. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to care about that, especially the Vegas fan base. They got their Stanley Cup within 6 seasons.
I don't even want to talk about Vegas. The choice is in for Anaheim. Okay, so enough level. I talked to Dart already. Stop fawning over him. Let's go. I want to know the perk. Oh man. You know what I'm kind of nervous to also, because I don't have everything lined up perfectly, I would presume. So if I hit refresh on Twitter, I might see the pick before I see it on the screen. And I'm kind of trying to avoid that. Pagnotta, some chatter. Teams have called San Jose about Logan Couture and Thomas Hurdle. Nothing close, just inquiries. And they're still trying to move
Erik Karlsson.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
The real NHL draft. Oh, man. What is it going to be?
Shh. Pad Verbeek.
I've been almost tripped.
Leo Carlson.
Wow.
Fantilli drops?
Fantilli drops to 3.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
Columbus is going to take him.
They have to. How do they not?
If Fantilli is another Shane Wright situation, he drops the 4th to San Jose, I don't understand. I won't understand. They obviously know something that we don't, or they're not watching the same player. But Leo Carlson goes 2nd overall to the Anaheim Ducks.
Wow.
Wow. He's a
Wow.
big boy,
That's
though,
a big
man.
boy.
He's
6'3". That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
There was rumors before the draft started that Leo Carlson, that Anaheim was interested in him. Dude, honestly, the
That's
Columbus
wow.
Blue Jackets right now are probably doing backflips.
That's wow. Oh boy. Oh, anything could happen now. That's it. That was the fuse. That was the fuse. Oh my
Well,
god.
okay, so hold on. It can still get a little wild. So Fantilli goes 3.
Yes. Will Smith 4, and you're still Michkov 5. But if
Yeah.
they take Michkov at 4 or 3, Fantilli is now 3 or 4, and now you got Will Smith at 5. And everything kind of, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter where the first 4 go as long as the first 4 stay the first 4. You know what I'm saying? It's still wild. It's still wild. Everybody had Fantilli at 2, but now Fantilli is going to drop to 3 likely. I can't see them not taking him. How did they not take him? Wow. Wow. It's not like an oh my god insane surprise, but it's a pretty big one.
Well, it's because everybody had Fantilli at 2, no matter what.
I mean, they're gonna. I would be shocked to my core if they don't take Fantilli in Columbus. That would be the biggest shocker because now you're saying Fantilli's going to sit there at San Jose for 4. That would be insane. And we know they're really high on Will Smith there too. I mean, it's crazy.
Like, there's no way Columbus leaves Fantilli behind. There's just no way. That's where he's going. He's going to Columbus.
Wow.
And you know what? Anaheim took less time to make that pick than Chicago did.
Well, sure.
To take Bedard.
That's wild, man.
They must like the fact that Leo Carlson could practically come to the NHL and play right now. And the fact that he was still a projected top 3 pick anyway.
Wow.
Columbus is next, and they get a chance at Fantilli. You know what? I think if Montreal was 4th, they maybe would have tried trading up to get Fantilli. Maybe.
There's who knows what's going to happen. I mean, literally, that's the moment.
Wild.
That's the moment. Anything can happen now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the real NHL draft.
That's wild stuff. And it's again, I'm not necessarily saying.
Pagnotta just tweeted quite a few smiles at the Columbus table right now.
Well,
but you know what?
They were going to get a good player.
They were. They are. It's just they weren't expected to get the projected 2nd overall pick.
Well, okay, but you had some people projecting Carlson was going to go 2 also. I mean, this isn't like a completely off the board pick. Do I think it's weird? Yes. Michkov there, you don't take him. You don't take Fantilli, who has been at 2 projected for the longest time. Internally, they prefer him. He's ready to jump in. It's a little wild. I mean, don't they have a lot of young centermen on that team?
Who?
Anaheim?
Well, they got Zegras, they got McTavish.
And now Carlson. I mean, these are 3 young dudes, man.
Well, I think what happens now is that Carlson either moves to number 2 and McTavish moves down to 3, or McTavish moves to the wing.
I guess.
Because
they can always move somebody to the wing.
They also have Ryan Strome that's there.
Yeah.
They've got...
Oh, man, that's wild stuff. That's wild stuff. Oh, I love this stuff. I love it.
Somebody's writing, praying that Will Smith goes to 3. Why? You're a Habs fan and you're saying that because this person's so adamant about and so
What
gung ho about
size?
Michkov.
Oh,
No,
the choice is in for Columbus.
the specific Twitter account has been pushing Michkov for the last month.
I'm sure they're not alone.
They're not alone, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody push Michkov as much as this individual account has. It's almost to the point that anybody who says that Montreal should draft somebody else, this person's criticizing.
I mean, I can understand. Michkov, by all accounts, is the second most talented player. It's hard to pass up on a guy like that. Here we go. Blue Jackets. I'm not clicking refresh anymore. Here we go.
Here we go.
Come on. Yarbo. There he is.
So I'm going to spoil it for you.
Don't spoil it. Shut up.
It's Adam Fantilli.
Shut up. Let me see it. What are you spoiling?
Adam Fantilli is number 3.
Okay, well that was easy. That was easy.
Renaud Lavoie just tweeted that Montreal will not be trading their 5th pick.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you'd have to blow us out of the water for me to see a move.
You know what? We'll make a quick bold prediction here because obviously San Jose is next. San Jose will take Michkov. And Montreal will get, and I will get the player that I want. Listen, Fantilli is still 3rd overall, top 3 pick. But it's a nice little surprise. It's a nice little surprise.
It's just a different destination. He was going in the top 3. There was no way the kid was going to drop out of top 3. So instead of the sunny, warm weather of Anaheim, he has to go freeze his ass in Columbus. What are you going to do?
He's in the NHL, and it's not the Arizona Coyotes. He's going to the NHL. Columbus is a very nice city. Per Eric Engels, Fantilli to Columbus. This is the best year to have the 3rd pick in the draft in recent memory.
Yeah, couldn't have it in the last 2 times the Habs had a 3rd overall pick.
No, we ruined 3rd overall picks, or we take the wrong one
all the time.
It's the curse of the 3rd overall pick. That's why I don't want Montreal to have the 3rd overall pick. But if there's a year that they could have had the 3rd overall, I would have been okay with this year.
The biggest question is this. We've been waiting this whole time. It's this moment. San Jose goes up. San Jose selects Will Smith, hypothetically. Realistically, it's at that given point that every single deal that's on the table is being looked at again one last time. And if you're going to have a trade, it's at that moment. If they don't take Will Smith and they take Michkov instead, I cannot see that pick being moved. It's going to be Will Smith to the Habs 100%. There's no way they go off the record. There's no way, or not off the record, rather off the
board.
Off the board. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Well, I got your back.
Yeah.
This Trevor Timmins redemption? I don't think so.
Trevor Timmins redemption.
That was just an easy pick for him.
You could have bare minimum hockey knowledge and have made that pick. Oh man, that's wild stuff.
I do wonder. I'd love to ask
if
Fantilli wasn't available at 3, who was he going to pick?
He would have taken Carlson probably. I mean, he would have taken Carlson. Someone's posting a picture where Fantilli Fantilli was doing an interview before the draft, and the guy's holding up a Fantilli jersey from Anaheim. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, man.
No indication right now that the Montreal Canadiens have a deal in place for their first round pick. 5 teams called so far, but no deal. Okay, that's an old tweet. Somebody just retweeted it. My bad.
Yeah.
It's not happening. Bedard's already signing his
Now-
entry level contract.
Yeah, of course. So here, biggest question ever. Sharks go nuts. They take Leonard. You got Smith and Michkov. I think you've asked me this, but like, what do you do? What
Smith.
do you do?
You know my answer to this. I'm taking Smith.
Oh, that's so.
And my
nuts.
reason for that is while Michkov is probably the more talented player, by the time he comes to Montreal, I feel like Will Smith will already be producing at a point per game, if not a bit better.
Okay.
So
what if
what are we
Michkov
supposed-
comes and he's 140
100-point
point player?
Am I gonna be disappointed that Will Smith is putting up 85 to 95 points while the other one's putting 100 to 105, 110? It's like what we talk about 10, 15 points. Well, I'm
It's a lot of points, man.
I'm not scoffing at 10, 15 points, but
It's a lot of points. Oh boy. Come on, San Jose.
I also just think that Montreal is going to go after Will Smith because I've already said it. The link between, and the connection between him and Kent Hughes.
And Kent Hughes. Yeah.
I mean, Kent Hughes already went and acquired another one of his players that he used to represent in Newhook. And the guy's just he's going to collect all of his old players.
Don't you spoil this for me. San Jose's going up. Don't click no Twitter. You just look at the screen. They're going up right now. Oh, baby. San Jose, stay in your lane.
At least they're not taking the full 3 minutes.
Stay in your lane. Oh, boy. Here we go. Oh, man. Here we go. Here we go. Don't you say a word. Not a word.
I'm actually not looking because I want to. Mike Greer. You got drunk at that bar, didn't you? Boo.
Here we go.
Don't ruin it for me. I think I might be just behind you.
Patrick Marleau making the pick. Nice touch. Here we go. It's not overall. Will Smith.
I didn't see it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Oh man.
Damn it.
Wow.
Damn it.
Okay. Okay.
Montreal Canadiens are going to take Matt Michkov, aren't they? All right. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Man. Will
Okay.
Smith.
Already. Team Tank 2024. If we don't trade the pick and don't take Michkov, I'll never forgive Kent Hughes for the emotional trauma.
This is wild.
People are expecting him to trade. Look at everyone's panicking.
Everybody's going
Relax,
insane.
Montreal. Relax.
It's Michkov or
Relax.
not Michkov?
Even a friend of ours, Luca.
Look at him.
They
Look at
better
him smiling,
draft
Kent Hughes. They pan to Kent Hughes' face. He's sitting there smiling.
He's so like, what a poker face. He's just there chilling. Ken Hughes is not saying a word. He's not no poker, like nothing. He doesn't want to say anything.
Oh, this is wild. Well, they got him. They got Smith over there. That was the guy Kent Hughes wanted, allegedly.
That was the guy I wanted.
That was the guy Vito wanted. I'm sort of with Michkov. I think at 5 you get the second best talented player in the league, or rather in the draft.
Everybody's freaking. Kent Hughes is grinning at the table. What does it mean?
Doesn't mean nothing. He's staring right in the camera.
He's
staring into my soul.
It means that he just saw the guy he represented go 4th overall in the NHL draft. That's what that means.
Oh my God.
Okay. So it's confirmed they're not trading the pick. They're picking.
Why? Where do you get confirmed? I see the clock ticking. You never know.
I just heard Randall Levoit talking about it.
Pagnotta saying not much activity at the table right now. Hughes and Gorton sitting nice and calmly. They're gonna do it.
Honestly, I think they really were hopeful that Will Smith was going to be there at 5. I think that whoever they draft now,
you know what? I think they're sitting so calmly because they knew that a trade was now automatically going to be sent in because Will Smith is gone. They're moving back. Look, he's busy laughing his ass off. He's having a great time.
This guy loves playing with our fan base, doesn't he? But in a good way, in a fun, positive way. Carey Price is there. Oh, but he was laughing with Chantal, Maccabi.
No one's moving. No one's talking.
You know what? If they do take Matvei Michkov, I think the first question I got to ask is how can they buy that contract out? Is there a way that Montreal can hush speak, terminate that contract?
Maybe. I mean, it's gotta be.
They're not on the phones. They're taking the full 3 minutes.
Well, because I don't know.
They're waiting to see if 10 seconds or 15 seconds in or whatever.
Imagine someone calls last minute. Fine, we'll do it. It's extortion, but we'll do it. They're just sitting there, man. They're just sitting there. What is happening? Oh, man. He's just sitting so calmly.
Well, the pick is in.
The pick is in. The pick is in. They're picking. Here we go. They didn't pick up a phone. He sat there the whole time.
They were waiting, dude. They were literally waiting to see who if anybody was
Price is
going
to make the announcement, and he's been practicing. Matvei Michkov. If I swear to God, if he says Leonard, I don't know. I don't think the internet is ready. I mean, it has to be. I don't know. It has to be. They're picking. No cool trade. Here we go. Here we go. Are you synced up with me? They're all on stage now?
Dave's messaging. Dave, don't do this to us. Dave, do not do it to us. Don't let us know. We're going to find out in a second.
What do you say?
Come on. He's messaging. No, Kent, we don't need congratulations. Just make the pick. Don't ruin it for me, Matt.
I'm not. Price to make the pick. Oh my God.
CP.
Bonsoir. What? David Reinbacher.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
No way. We just. Why?
Oh my God.
They did it.
What in the world? What in the world?
They actually freaking did what I was hopeful in saying that they weren't going to do this.
I
That they
cannot
weren't
believe
gonna
that
do
just
this.
happened. I cannot believe that just happened. I cannot believe what just happened.
What the? Wow. They must have really thought that they were going to be able to get, and not even Ryan Leonard. They really wanted a
I
right-handed defenseman.
cannot believe what just happened.
I mean, he's a big boy, but geez.
I cannot believe what just happened. He could have moved back. Why wouldn't he move back? He had 5 offers on the table. How do you not move back to go pick him up? Another defenseman. Another defenseman
Well,
prospect.
it's a right-handed defenseman. Keep that in mind. But yeah, it's
Oh my God. How do you pass up on Michkov? How do you not take Leonard? You need
I
all I can say is to stand by my words at the beginning of what we talked about. While I completely do not understand this pick at all, I have to put my faith in them that they know something more than I do. And I hope in a couple of years' time I can look back on this and laugh when this guy is a top defenseman in the league. That's all I can hope. That's all I can hope. But that to me makes absolutely no sense.
oh man.
Hughes is talking. Hold on.
So they loved him since the beginning of the year.
I can't believe it. I can't even believe it. Also, I mean, not to go back to this because it's like not even a thing, but like, what the hell was that all about with Carey Price? Did he really forget the kid's name?
I don't think so. Maybe. Maybe he got stage fright. I'm not sure.
He forgot his name.
He should have
I
just.
thought it
He should just been like David. I mean, Matvei Michkov.
I
Ryan
literally
Leonard.
thought it was going to be. I mean, how do you make a joke? I'm like David, and he smiled, and then I thought he was going to say no from CSKA Matvei Michko. I mean, I cannot
you see, this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like. Some people are saying that at that point the Canadiens should have just accepted the Nashville trade offer. That I don't agree with.
I don't think Reinbacher's there at 15.
You know, he's really definitely not there at 15. He wouldn't have been there at 15, 100%. I mean, there was some mock drafts who had him in the top 5. I mean, some.
I am literally blown away by that.
Wow. Okay, this is all this torture of a terrible season to pick this guy. Are you serious? Listen, everybody, whoever is crapping on the kid right now, he's a kid. And at the end of the day, he's still somebody that was projected to go in the top 8. So I wouldn't. It's not the kid's fault he got drafted 5th overall. All right, so don't support the decision. They obviously know something we don't. They went. Unfortunately, it seems like they went based on need rather than the best player available. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this was the type of move or selection that most of us feared would happen. There was rumors of it, but we feared that this was what would happen.
I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I mean, on one hand, I could respect the balls on this management team to do a thing like this, but on the other hand, it just this to me just wasn't the time. It just wasn't the time.
Next year is a better pool of defenseman prospects, but
Arizona. Wow, man. Imagine a redemption tour. He comes back and one of the trades on the table was for something big, and he gets a pick in the top 10, and he goes and gets somebody else. No way. I'm blown away. Who are they taking? Arizona. Who? What? They didn't even.
They went with Simachev.
They went with Simachev. Michkov and Leonard are still there.
That's because they took the next best defenseman.
I legitimately can't.
Actually, he's not even the next best defenseman. What am I talking about? What am I talking about?
Nobody knows what the hell is going on.
Yeah, now it's madness. Now madness is happening. Montreal's created madness.
Oh my God. That is something. That is something. Hold on. Reinbacher talking. Wow, man. I'm like, I'm still trying to process what we just witnessed. All the speculation, all the thought behind, oh, they're going to move back this, that. Oh, would it be so bad if they did one of those trades and moved back to 8 or 9 and took Reinbacher and whatever? And everybody's like, even if they made a trade that moved them back to 8 and got another first-round pick and another top player, and you walked out of the draft with Reinbacher, people were still pissed. Could you imagine what those people are saying right now?
Well, but we said this before we even started going live, is that, or even at the very start of the episode, is there's going to be a huge contingent of fans that are not going to accept this. There's going to be a huge contingent of fans that are going to
wow.
talk about, throwing their jersey away and moving on to another team and favoring another team and so on. And to me,
Wow,
those aren't
man.
the true fans. You
No,
support
listen,
this team and the
listen.
decisions they make, but
Yes,
this
yes.
is
You
gonna be
support
hard
your
for some to
team.
swallow.
You support your team no matter what, but that doesn't mean that they're not subject to criticism. As fans, that is literally why we pay. We get to go, we get to watch, we get to say what we want. But I'm sitting back here, and we've all heard all the stories. We've seen all of the player comparables. We've seen every single person out there have an opinion about it. And I mean, it was like this was such a far-fetched thing that it was kind of like a joke. People were saying, "Oh, imagine if they took Ryan
I'm not
Bacher at 5."
gonna say it's far fetched, because the reason why people are saying imagine that they're gonna take Ryan Bacher is because there was a chance that they would take Ryan Bacher. There was already speculation that Ryan Bacher was one of the players that Montreal really liked. I do think that if Will Smith was there at 5, they would have taken Will Smith over Ryan Bacher. But that's not how it played out. Now the thing is that now you have Arizona Coyotes who also passed up on Michkov, and I'm almost certain that
Wow.
that he's not going to get past Washington. But we've heard and we've read that Philly's really, really into Ryan Leonard. So now they got a decision to make between Ryan Leonard and Michkov.
Could you imagine he's going to fall all the way to Washington and they didn't have to do anything to get him? They didn't have to trade. They didn't have to do anything. That to me is absolute insanity. Insanity.
It makes me wonder if Kent Hughes grinning was either because of the whole, like they knew they were acting it out with Carey Price based on everything that happened on social media and people talk about Ryan Bacher, or if he was grinning because he knew that chaos was about to ensue in a different direction. That chaos is going to happen for a different reason.
He's grinning because they probably had a list of priorities of players, and they said if somehow, some way Fantilli falls, he's our guy. If Carlson falls, he's our guy. If Smith falls, he's our guy. And since all of them were taken, they took the next guy that they had on their list, and he was there, and it's Ryan Bacher, and that's who they picked. So he was all smiles. He goes, everything's going according to our plan. It's not a problem. But how do you put him ahead of a guy like Michkov? How do you put him ahead of a guy like Leonard, who apparently they were so high on? Dude, all of a sudden they woke up and said, you know what? We thought about it. And a 5'10.5" power forward really isn't somebody we want. And Matvei Michkov, we thought about it. We really don't want to wait the 3 years. And we're not even sure if he's going to come here, yada, yada, yada. Did the geopolitics really play a factor? We'll never know.
To that point, Ryan Bacher just confirmed he's got another year of school left before he could consider coming over. So
that is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Wow, man.
You think that's crazy? I'm sure the few Arizona fans that there are wondering, what the heck? Why'd you guys pick Simashev when there was all those players available?
Listen, Philly's going up right now. Maybe they also go off the board and they do something insane. I have no idea.
They're taking Ryan Leonard.
No, but honestly, the thing that bothers me the most about it is you had apparently five picks on the table, and you're telling me out of all those picks, none of them would have had you fall back. I don't know, 2 or 3, be it Philly, be it Detroit, Washington, even. Ryan Bacher would have been there. He would have been there.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
I want to just say this. Jay Fresh brought up a good point. Michkov being better doesn't mean that Ryan Bacher projects as just a middle pair defenseman. Some people are coming through with very confident takes, surely based on extensive NLA viewings. You got to give this kid a chance.
No, he's going to be a good player. You got to not look at it that way. Like anybody who's looking at it that way, David Ryan Bacher is going to be a really good defenseman. Will he be a number 1? If you're picked fifth overall, you should be.
Okay, hold on.
Michkov to the Flyers. There you go. A perfect gift for Philadelphia. And somebody just wrote it. This is the revenge for Cole Caulfield when they took Cam York. This is the revenge moment.
Oh, come on. You can't make that simple.
This is the revenge moment. They got a guy who is the second best skilled player in the entire draft. They're in rebuild mode. They don't need him right away. And he's going to show up and he is going to be a thorn in the side of everybody for a long, long time. Wow. Wow, man.
Oh, that's all sorts. Look, already, I just want to burn my Habs jersey. Guys,
Don't
people are
burn your
saying I want to
jerseys. Come on,
if you're gonna
guys.
burn your jersey or throw them out or throw them in and whatnot, you weren't good true fans to begin with.
No, but you know what?
Support
You know
your
what?
team.
If you're going to take it, listen, we're obviously pretty shocked also. I'm not going to say no, but think about it from this perspective. At the very least, give the kid the chance to come over and get a couple seasons in and see how he materializes. If after a couple years here, you actually look at him and say his ceiling is like a middle pair defenseman, then this was a complete failure of a draft. And maybe that is the case. Maybe he ends up working on his offensive skills and suddenly he comes around and this becomes the next, who knows, Eric Carlson, right?
Or maybe he's somebody that's very, very strong defensively who can pot in some points, but he's like one of those true purebred shutdown defenseman styles who can pot in some points offensively, but you're gonna have trouble getting around them. Okay, maybe he's that. Maybe he's that. But I could tell you this right now: Montreal's right side is looking like Barron, Mailloux, Reinbacher. That's the depth on the right side now. That's the depth on their right side. Before today, their depth on the right side was David Savard, Mailloux, and Barron. That's it.
Matvei Michkov falls down to 7.
Which is funny because a few episodes ago, what did we say? Like we actually said Matvei Michkov would be a perfect fit for Philly.
He would. That's what I said. That's why I thought they would trade up to 5. This is literally my scenario that I thought about a couple of weeks ago, and it ended up being they didn't have to move at all. They didn't have to package anything. They didn't have to include futures, nothing. All they did was sit tight, and he fell right into their laps. This is the perfect player for Philadelphia.
When I'm looking at, we've analyzed this. Even if Philly wanted to trade up to 5 to lock in Matvei Michkov, I think that they were in that kind of boat or in that kind of scenario. Is that one? What were they going to offer up Montreal to accept that deal? That's one. And two, even if Montreal accepted it, I feel like Philly was going to be okay if it was whether Matvei Michkov was there or Ryan Leonard was there. Somehow, some way, it's like Philly was banking on the fact that Arizona wasn't going to take Matvei Michkov either.
I mean, I see. Yeah. Arizona went off the board also, which I think is a little bit wild. I think that's a little wild too. I mean, you're sitting at 8 now, and Leonard's still there. You know, I think that's a little bit surprising. I think most people had him at least going, in the top 7. That to me is absolutely wild.
Brian Wild brings up a very good point. He gives props to Daniel Briere, but he says fans can scream trade down all they want, but someone has to take the bait. And Danny Briere, kudos to him, did not take the bait, and his gamble worked. He gets the draft again without having to sacrifice.
Yeah, no. He actually played it out. I mean, I don't know if this is going to end up being in retrospect when you look back. What do you say?
He just said it. He goes, he was in our top 4. They had a list of top 4. I bet you anything Ryan Leonard was number 2 on that list unless Matvei Michkov was going to be there. That's just who I believe they really liked because Ryan Leonard also fits a need in Philly. But based on Philly's current rebuild and their timeline and all that, and if it does take 3 years before Matvei Michkov makes it to the NHL, then Philly's getting the player they need in 3 years from now. Because they're starting to rebuild now.
He's the perfect player for them. What I'm going to say is this. He looks like a genius right now, Danny Briere. But if he had an offer on the table to Kent Hughes, and Kent Hughes could have moved back to 8, and they could have moved up to 5, and they still take Michkov there, and then Arizona sticks with who they just picked. I mean, Reinbacher was going to be there at 8.
But hold on. Even if they would have traded down to 8, Matvei Michkov got picked at 7. So Washington it was a gamble for them. So what are they going to do?
No, he got picked at 7 because because that's where Philadelphia was. If Philadelphia moved up to 5, not knowing that nobody else was going to take him, Michkov goes at 5 now. Now you've gotten extra stuff out
Well,
of
yes.
Philly.
In hindsight, when you're looking at it,
Well, that's
but
what I'm
again,
saying. In hindsight, Danny
but-
Briere looks like a genius. But this, if the offer was from Philadelphia and it was on the table for Kent Hughes, I feel like that's a fail.
Well, the thing is that we tried to connect the dots, and a lot of people tried to connect the dots there, and whether Philly was the team that made an offer. But for all we know, that maybe Philly didn't make an offer, and it was only Detroit, and it was only Nashville, and it was only Washington, and the 2 other teams that we haven't heard of yet. You know, that's one thing that's certain. We have not heard that Philly had made an offer or were negotiating with Kent Hughes. We haven't heard that once. But you know, let's not run this kid out of town on day one. He did very well against men, and he played very well. And at the end of the day, he is a rare commodity in terms of being a right-handed defenseman. And now he's a Montreal Canadian. So support him. It may not be the player you want, but it's not the player's fault that he got drafted 5th.
Washington speaking. Ryan Leonard. There you
Of course, he wasn't going
There
to
you
go further.
go. There you go. What a
They
nice
get a-
consolation prize.
They get a guy who can literally play, who plays a power forward game, and he's going to be in their system, and he's going to show up. He's going to join them in after next season,
Oof,
potentially.
that is just
Anyway,
so wild.
It just makes sense that he was going to get picked next. There's no way.
That's really, really wild, man.
Now, if I'm
sitting back-
Montreal now, and I'm Kent Hughes, I hope they're negotiating or trying to make a deal to try to get another pick in the top 15. But at the same time,
With
when
what?
you look at
With
the
what?
Montreal Canadiens, hold on. When you look at the Montreal Canadiens, it's if you look at where their rebuild is at and how many prospects they have, how many prospects are you going to keep filling your roster with now? That's why now they're trying to look for players like they did with Newhook or like they did with Kirby Doc last year. They're players that are very young who can play now while also still drafting 5th overall.
There is nothing they have that I can see them trading any team to get another first-round pick this year. Nothing. They have a lot of prospects, fine, but you're not trading a bunch of prospects for a first-round pick this year. It's not happening.
The one thing I'm going to say, you know what's a little exciting for people who are going to check out this episode after. What's exciting about seeing Reinbacher? I know for some of you, you might tune out after right before I even get to finish this point. Is it looks like he's going to be a very good partner for Lane Hudson. When you look at the left and the right side, and somebody like Lane Hudson who can move the puck like he can, and somebody like Reinbacher who can defend like he can, you almost see that as a perfect match down the road. So when you look at future pairings, and you can say that you can plug in Reinbacher, Mayu, Barron, and then on the other side is Gooley, Hudson, Harris, Jackeye. There's a lot to like there. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of future upside there.
He's got a lot of potential. But when you look at what you have on a team that has so many prospects, defensive prospects,
not right-handed.
Maybe you covet this right-handedness, I think, certainly more than I do. But when you have the talent that you could have up front where they're seriously lacking, I would argue that the discrepancy of them being a good team up front versus their back end is far greater up front. They needed a guy who can score 100 points.
Yes, you're not wrong. You're not
and
wrong.
They had the opportunity to get one, and they didn't take him.
They do need a guy who can score 100 points. At the same time, they're obviously playing or positioning themselves to be a much more balanced team. And when you look at the potential on the back end of what it could look like in the future, they're hyped up about that. And there's reason for Montreal fans to be hyped up about the defense as well, the future defensemen. However, I get your point. You had something like Matvei Michkov. There's no guarantees he's going to come over in 3 years, but let's say he does come over in 3 years, and you plug him into your right wing, top first line right winger, okay, I get it. There's a lot of dreams, there's a lot of scenarios and daydreaming that you can do about that. But they didn't pick him for a reason. There's something there why they didn't pick him. I still think that it would be different if Will Smith was available, but he wasn't. Will Smith was, no joke, whether people like it or not, was the piece that Montreal actually needed.
But he was gone.
He was gone.
And you know who wasn't gone? Michkov, Leonard. Two guys that are offensive dynamos. Now, I still sit back and say anything could happen. And you're going to have a lot of people off. Like, another thing that people have to realize is the free agents of next year is a tremendous group of free agents. Maybe with a bunch of money that's coming off the books, they go sign a free agent that fills that spot. Maybe it won't be a 100-point player, but it will be an offensive dynamo that might pair very well with the guys they have now. And they're loading up the back end on things that they think are not common. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the play. I think overall the consensus of the more rational fans on Twitter right now are saying, listen, likely not the guy most of us thought that they were going to take, but let's not judge it right now. We'll wait a couple of years until you see.
They didn't take the best player available skill-wise, okay?
And normally that is a faux pas. Normally that ends up being a mistake.
But they did take the best defenseman available.
Yeah. They did.
They took the best defense, and he happens to be right-handed. And I know you're saying I put a lot of weight on that. It's because it's rare in the NHL.
Yes, it is. But you also have to appreciate that the people who actually watch this kid play are saying that right now, unless there's something dramatic changes with him, he does not possess the offensive capabilities that make a defenseman a number one. He will not be, according to them, I don't know, and I hope they're wrong, but he does not convert into a Cale Makar. He does not become an Erik Karlsson.
But they don't have to be a Cale Makar. They don't have to be a Cale Makar. They could have nice pairings or that could bring up the offensive production. Like I said, if Lane Hudson and him are a
not at 5.
If Lane Hudson is a pair and pairing, if Lane Hudson and Reinbacher are a future pairing and they become a real strong duo, why not? You know, some people have said, analysts and whatever, or peep scouts have said that there's some more Sider to his game. Some. Okay, he could be more defensive versus offensive. Let it be. We're gonna see. Who the heck knows? Most of the people
here. I'll say it this way.
Most of the people complaining on Twitter are basing themselves on a few videos.
Here, just let's see the 9th pick. Oh. Nate Danielson at 10.
What is happening in this draft?
What is happening? Check this out. Dvorsky's still there. Zach Benson's still there.
More.
That's crazy. Oh, we got, what is this here? At 5, you want more than Reinbacher.
Sandy
John,
Pelika.
100%. That's what I'm saying. Exactly what John is suggesting right there. That is what I'm saying. I want a David Reinbacher on my team, but not at 5. Because it seems like his ceiling is not high enough to be there. That is where Cale Makar was picked. That is where Quinn Hughes was picked.
But Cale Makar is a rare player. There was no reason why he was there.
But still fine. But then that means even more reason you don't choose a defenseman who is not a Cale Makar at 5. That's what I'm saying. You don't pick a defensive stalwart defenseman that high. You just don't do it. You don't pick a shutdown defenseman at 5 when you have talent that's out there.
Matt, you're assuming that he's a shutdown defenseman. You don't know how his game is going to round out. If he's already that good defensively, and they got to focus on his offensive game, because one thing people are not questioning. There's one thing that people are not bringing up. Thanks, John. Thanks for the comment. One of the things that people are not bringing up is that, okay, you have Reinbacher who was picked at 5. Great, fantastic. And you're saying he can't be a number 1. Jacob Trouba's a number 1. The guy just is a defensive defenseman. There are still cases out there of defensive defensemen who can pop 25, 30 points a season, but the guy also, by the way, Reinbacher's got a cannon of a shot already at the young age that he's at. He's got a very good shot.
He has to be getting all hot now. getting me all bothered with this. He has to be a defensive quarterback, a top shutdown defenseman, and an incredible breakout guy.
No, it's about balancing it out, dude. It's about balancing it out. If he's on a pair with Lane Hudson or Caden Gooley or like, or Harris or whatever, he doesn't have to be the quarterback. Yes, ideally Montreal would have drafted and there would have been somebody available that could have been the quarterback defenseman and would have been the guy who replaces Andre Markov. Okay, because that's the last quarterback defenseman that we've had.
Yes.
But there's reason to believe that Lane Hudson's going to be that guy. So when you have Lane Hudson who's going to go rush up, okay, and could clear, and you need somebody to clear the front of the net, then it's going to be somebody like Reinbacher potentially, who could play the defensive side of the game.
But at 5?
Yes, at 5. It's not unheard of.
Well, obviously not. It just fucking happened. It just happened. Sorry. It just happened. It did. But I mean, okay, so here, I'm sure the kid's solid, but you want more than that at 5. I agree. They're really counting on his upside potential. They must be looking at this kid and say his capabilities. Like, okay, so the way I should phrase it is this: his floor is incredibly high. He has an incredibly high floor. Now the hope is, could you push his ceiling to the limit to make him a number 1? Because at the end of the day, this is where it's going to end up. It will be a bad pick if he winds up your third defenseman on the team. At 5, you don't draft a third defenseman. He must be that good to be a 1D.
Look at what Montreal, but look what happens to Montreal, assuming they keep the current right-hand defensemen that they have. Assuming that they keep dude, for the first time, you can literally slot in 3 defensemen on the right side for the future. They literally have defensemen. They're locked on the right-hand side for the future now. Barron, Reinbacher, Mailloux. And some have even suggested, you could ask Mark Dumont if you want to speak with him or send him a message. You could speak to Brian Wild. From what I remember, Logan Mailloux plays like that quarterback style defenseman that we're looking for. Okay, I know
then
a lot of.
What are we doing taking this guy? You're talking about you need a quarterback on the power play. That's
because our third defenseman right now, our third right-handed defenseman right now is Kovacevic. No slight to Kovacevic, but that's our depth right now.
But you can't. You can probably find a guy that can get in there.
No. You can't find the guy who was projected to be in the top 8, top 9, and was literally labeled as the best defensive prospect in the entire draft.
Would I say that this is Hughes' first misstep? I mean, again, right? So sitting here today, with what I know today, yes. Now, that being said, I reserve the right to change that opinion once I actually see him come over and play and put a couple years in development here and see if he was able to increase that upside and that potential that they clearly see. So you can't necessarily, like, one thing's for sure, right? So a thing that's important. Hold on a second. A thing that's important to note is Reinbacher, for almost everybody who's in the know about prospects, he was in the top 10. This is a tremendous talent. He is a great player, and he's going to likely be a great player. My point of view is that the need was greater up front, and there were players there that were available that the Habs could have gone with that I feel would have ultimately netted a greater overall positive on the team. Now, that being said, you want a Reinbacher. Vito's right. He fits a spot on the team that they are lacking on the right side. This is a good fit. But it pisses me off a bit because it seems to me that they draft based on need again versus the best player available. And historically, that has not been a good play. That's my problem.
Listen.
Dvorsky going to St. Louis.
Makes sense. I don't know. I mean, they have centermans, but okay.
So Benson really is falling, I would say. It's a bit of a surprise. I think people had him at 6.
Again, it's the draft, man. And this is what you want from an entertainment perspective.
it's great. I like it from that perspective. I like the chaos. I do. I really, really, really do. Wow.
I don't get why people are correlating the whole Caulfield and we've been bugging them, they're gonna bug us. It's not the same thing.
Well, kinda. It
No,
kinda is.
no,
Well, a
it's
little bit. It's
no,
a
it's
little
not.
bit like what it is. A little
It's
bit.
not. I don't think so.
Okay.
And I don't want to think that way. I'm looking at.
Oh man. That is wild, wild stuff. I mean, I'm like really in the moment with it, and after thinking about it, probably in the next couple days, I'll come to terms with it a little bit better. It just really it blows my mind that Michkov is there and they didn't take him. Like fundamentally, that's where I'm at because
I
this
think
guy,
people are just
everybody's
being
saying how good he was.
way too hard. I think people are being way too hard on this in the sense that like, Kent Hughes, it's gonna be hard to try to convince the fan base for future moves and all that. I'm wondering here. This is my question to you. Okay, do you think them acquiring Newhook helped influence this move?
No,
I think
no.
so. I think
Why?
so.
Why?
Okay, so when you look at somebody like Newhook, he's got a very similar stature to Matvei Michkov. Maybe not the same talent level or skill set. However,
Okay.
you are getting a guy who plays a certain style that's very enjoyable. Newhook has a lot of upsides, got a lot of skills. He's speedy. He plays a very he's got some bite to his game, so to speak. Okay, so I'm thinking that if they acquired Newhook for somebody who's going to slot into their top six, whether it's left wing or right wing, and they then said, okay, our top six is starting to get a little crowded with the players that we like to have, especially if you plan on keeping Josh Anderson and Kirby Doc, and you got Sean Monahan and on all of that. And I know Sean Monahan's going to leave eventually, but what we're missing is on the right-hand defenseman. It's a right-hand side defenseman. That's what we're missing. So I'm thinking, and I'm starting to think that maybe Newhook was helped influence them taking Reinbacher at 5. If they weren't going to get Newhook,
I can't see that. I can't see the correlation.
then maybe.
I can't see the correlation at the core of it, right? At the core of where I look at this, they did not select the best player available.
They selected the best defenseman available. I'm going to keep saying that to everybody who ever says that.
Well, you say it as much as you want, but you're saying something that isn't relevant to what I'm saying. He's still a player. Forward, defenseman, goalie, they're all in the same bucket. They're all available, and they did not take the one that talent-wise was the greatest. And I just, it's hard to tell. Now, maybe they got, listen, this is why we're still watching. So maybe they got something else cooking.
Elite Prospects data, if you want some information here. David Reinbacher, okay?
Give me information. Give it to me.
The projected chance of becoming a star is at 66%. The projected chance of becoming an NHLer is at 99%. They went with a safer pick who happens to be the best defenseman of the draft and right-handed.
Let me ask you this. You don't have this available. We're just going to speculate. Okay, let's just speculate. You're telling me the likelihood that Reinbacher becomes an NHLer is 99%. Okay.
Yeah.
Likelihood of him becoming, what was it, a star defenseman?
A star defenseman.
A star defenseman, 66%. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It ain't bad, but it ain't great because you're at the 5th overall. It should be higher. Now, I would task you, look at Michkov, look at Leonard even, look at Benson. Who else was taken after? That's a forward, because you can't really look at Carlson, Fantilli, Smith, or obviously Bedard because they were all taken ahead of him. So out of the other guys I mentioned, what is the star probability for them? And I would bet you it's probably greater than 66%. That would be my guess.
So even PM's NHL draft ranking, this is the description of this whole thing, and I like it. It makes sense. It's an okay choice. He was his 3rd best, but 5th overall, so he's all right with it. Clear organizational need, safe pick. Feels like the goalie selection 3 years ago. Reactions are the same too. Was personally hoping for a trade down, and
yes,
and their steals.
Yes, that's the part that bothers me the most about this. unless if they were sitting there and again, they knew something that just doesn't make any sense to me. But if they knew that if they traded past Arizona, Arizona was going to take him and they really wanted him, how do you not trade down?
So
And
here, picks like
What?
Reinbacher are rarely well received by the fan base. It ain't exciting. He's right. It's not exciting. No one wants to draft well-rounded first-pair D-man. Everybody wants them 5 years later, though, and no one wants to trade them. Give it time.
Again, he's going to be a good player for the team. He's going to fit on the right side very well. And you hope that he's able to push the high of his ceiling. Just a second. Who did they pick? Vancouver picked who? Tom Willander. Still no Benson, still no more.
I love how every year Vancouver, Alvin goes up since he became the GM. He doesn't no congratulations, nothing. He just straight to the point. This is what we're picking. Too bad. I didn't get to answer John's question whether it's Hughes' first misstep. I don't think it's his first misstep. You know what? He hasn't really made a misstep just yet. If you look at our previous GM, and to a certain point, I've even given Bergevin credit when he's needed it and when he deserved it, and I've crapped on him when he's made some bad moves. But there was a lot of missteps there. There's a lot of good things that Bergevin did, but there's a lot of missteps. Kent Hughes hasn't really done a misstep. This isn't considered a misstep. This isn't a mistake per se. This is just not what most people wanted, or what a certain contingency of the fan base wanted. People wanted that exciting player. They wanted that Michkov, so that even in 3 years from now, and he comes over, and hopefully his game translates to the NHL immediately, and he's the next Kaprizov. That's what people wanted in Montreal. People are craving somebody that's going to give you that stardom, and I think Cole Caulfield is heading there.
They want the best player available. That's what most people want. You cannot draft based on an organizational need.
You can if that player is also a very good player. And you can if it's an organizational lead who happens to also be the best prospect of his category or of his position. And dude, fix your camera.
I mean, here.
I feel
oh, sorry. So somebody here is writing something also, which again, right? I mean, hindsight and everything, and I'm not gonna necessarily dive into this, but he goes, imagine now 2 years down the road, not from today, but like we're at this point now. So after 2 years, you've gotten a first overall pick and a fifth overall pick, and you're walking out with Slafkovsky and Reinbacher, and you could have had Cooley and Michkov.
Okay, and
I
can't stand people who are bringing up the Slafkovsky thing when the majority of people had Slafkovsky first by the time the draft came around. Okay, the kid's 18 years old, literally just showed his high school diploma. Everyone's got to stop with this whole Slafkovsky business. The guy didn't get to finish the season because he got hurt. Everyone's gonna love it in a few years from now when this guy's a big truck walking around, skating around, being able to pot goals and play a certain style that we'll also need in the future. It's enough. Okay, I'm happy that they got Slafkovsky. Could I eat my words in a few years from now? Maybe. Logan Cooley right now, very talented, very skilled. I adored that player's profile when the draft was up last year. However, he hasn't played in the NHL yet. Okay, give him time. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
it's enough.
To be fair, I'm a Slafkovsky fan. He grew on me. I like the pick. I think he's also incredibly young, and we know that they grow into their bodies later. I think he's going to be a tremendous talent. I'm super excited for him. The Reinbacher thing, again, I hope I can come around to it too. I just think at this particular moment, while it might end up being a really good pick for the Habs, I think today and objectively, even if it ends up working out, this is a very big well, it's funny to say gamble because a lot of people are saying it's a safe pick. Yes, it's a safe pick, but I think it's a gamble that you passed up on other guys that have a tremendous amount of talent upside.
Yes, they have a tremendous upside. Now, let's just say Michkov does well in the KHL. We see his skill. I mean, we put up a highlight video of it. We like Michkov. We really, really did. And we really do. Now, he comes to the NHL and it doesn't translate well, but Montreal picked him at 5. Oh, okay, it was okay to make that gamble because he was the best player available. Okay, cool. What if he doesn't come over at all?
You then take the shot. You take the gamble.
An idiot. Kent Hughes is an idiot at that point.
No, because it's 3 years down the road, and you took the gamble. You took the gamble on the best player available. It's not their fault that if the kid doesn't come. He said he has intentions to come. He's at the draft right now. You got to roll the dice. You absolutely got to roll the dice. That is crazy stuff.
I think we got to buy you a new webcam. It's like it's overheating.
It can't handle it. It can't handle the picks. It's because I keep moving out of focus. Don't worry about it.
Imagine on the Detroit fans how they must feel right now.
Wow.
They're like, Nate Danielson. What? Where does that come from?
He's got another 15 picks
But
this
you know
draft.
what?
Don't worry about it, Detroit.
Detroit has always been like that, though. They've always gone to get more often than not. Or Yzerman goes to get these players that you're like, really? I didn't expect that, except for Mort Sider.
Here comes Arizona again. Wow. Byron Bader. Sorry,
Bader.
butchering your last name. Bader. He goes, like Bedard, Michkov has the same generational look. One of the best Russian prospects they've ever seen. 100% of the players that look like this turn into superstars.
And you know what? I'll say this. If there wasn't all this geopolitical stuff and everything that was going on with him and whatever,
Arizona takes Danielle B.
Yeah, okay, that's a good pick.
Where is Benson? Someone's going to steal this kid.
All this to say, if there wasn't all this risk or uncertainty with Matvei Michkov, and they could get him over next year, he would have gone second overall. There's no doubt about it that he would have gone second overall. Just because of his upside. But there's teams out there right now that coveted other players more, preferred other players more, and weren't willing to wait 3 years till he comes over, and then an additional 1 to 2 years before his game could translate to the NHL. That's 5 years. Now, to argue that, to argue my own point, is that he then comes over and they got 3 years of entry-level contract with him.
It's
This guy's a big dude, Daniel Boot.
6'5", 203.
Now that's a guy that's got to fill into his frame. But you know what? Nobody's going to give this guy a problem. One, because Arizona's got the smallest fan base in the entire NHL. And two, they're going to be like, yeah, okay, he's 6'5". Let him fill into his frame.
Unreal.
We lack a certain level of patience in the Montreal Canadiens, and I get
patience,
it,
dude. It's not patience. It's bottom line.
No, I'm going back to the Slavkovsky comments.
Oh, well, okay. Slavkovsky is a different story. But, I mean, you look at this particular pick, and again, we're not the management, and they don't have to clearly listen to what any of the fans have to say. It's just this, I don't know, to me, at least right now, and I hope I eat my words, but to me right now, this was not the time to take a pick like that.
Okay. I love this question, and it's true. Who decides who is the best player available?
The overall consensus of the total amount of scouts that are out there that produce lists, when you look at them together.
But every scout's list is different. Even Bob McKenzie's list, who has been a very good list over the years, was only based on surveying 10 scouts. 10 out of 32 teams.
Listen,
if you have
25 scouts, and on 25 scouts, a particular player appears 70-80% of the time in a particular spot range, that's where that player deserves to be most likely. That's not to say that he's going to hit, but that's what you're predicting, and that's what you're scouting at that moment. Reinbacher was mostly around 8, 7, 9, that range. At 5, there was still so much talent there up front that I really thought, given what they're going to ice now, they could have used more firepower up front.
According to the 10 scouts that Bob McKenzie surveyed or asked, they said that he plays an upper echelon two-way game and is number 8 on his final list. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like Montreal took a player 3 spots down. He is the consensus top defenseman in this year's draft, and his range was as high as number 7 and as low as number 15.
And he was taken 5. Right there. That's all that needs to tell you. That doesn't mean he's going to be a bad player. It doesn't mean that he's going to ultimately be a really decent NHL player. But the majority of scouts are saying that this dude will likely not cap out at a 1, which is a bad pick to me at 5. I would love a David Reinbacher picked in the teens or traded for and slots on my team, and he's sitting there in middle pair or a 2, then I'd feel great about that. But when you're sitting there with the 5th overall pick and you go for a guy who most scouts are telling you his ceiling is not a top defenseman, I can't see how you make that move.
So stylistically, last word on sports. I like their site. Honestly, I really do. These are the comparisons that they said stylistically. There have been some ties to Ryan McDonough thrown out there. Brett Pesce was another name used by Pronman, but the specific writer that he's talking about believes Reinbacher, based on style alone, compares well to Colton Parayko.
And I'll sit here and I'll say this. I would love me a Colton Parayko on my team, but not with the 5th overall pick. That's really where this comes down to.
Reinbacher's transitional abilities are very effective, which we love transitional players.
Crazy.
Yeah, let's go to another one.
Buffalo's going up to make their pick now.
So his strengths: defensive IQ, physicality, strength, high competitive. His under construction is offensive creativity. His floor is that of a top 4 defenseman with second unit power play duties. If he finds a new gear in his offensive creativity, he could be a top pair defender that way. Yes. Otherwise, he's paired with a more offensive-minded partner who we can cover for, which is what we're saying with Lane Hudson.
You cannot tell me the justification is they drafted
his risk is a 1-on-5, and his reward is a 3.5 on 5.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough for a 5th overall pick.
9 on 10. It is the safer pick, so to speak.
Zach Benson goes to Buffalo, which is really good for them, and I like Buffalo as a team recently.
Yeah,
they're really trending up.
They should be happy about this. You know, he's gonna need some time, but this guy's got a motor that just doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's a really good pick for them.
He's got that engine. He keeps going. I mean, I'm not crazy about that mullet, but what am I going to tell you? I'm not 18 years old.
Wow.
But when we go back
that's a big take from this guy here, Thibaut Chatal. He's posting something that's showing trackings of the player. He goes, Montreal takes Reinbacher with the 5th pick. Best demon out of the Swiss National League since Yossi. Not the same profile, but will be a franchise cornerstone. That's a nice comment to hear.
There are people out there that know a little bit more than the average person who just solely focused on Matvei Michkov or Will Smith or just the specific players that were constantly being projected to go top 5. Okay, there are people who literally have studied this, and they're not saying Matvei Michkov or Reinbacher was a bad pick. They're just,
you know, what bothers me, what beyond so much, but what's currently bothering me is they take Reinbacher at 5, and after the Newhook thing, which okay, you can't discount the fact they have Newhook now, and that's part of it, but they don't have a 2nd round pick. They don't have their late first round pick anymore. So
Well,
while
we
they were
don't
going
know.
to pick
We
two
don't,
more,
we don't know what could happen from now till the second round. With
explain.
that,
Okay, go ahead. Tell me exactly how they go and make a trade occur to get another first round
there
pick
was rumors
this
today
year.
about it. There was rumors about Eddie today.
You think Eddie's going to net you a first now?
Not a first. I said in the second round.
Oh, a second. Okay. I'm talking about getting back into the first.
Oh no, in the first, no, Eddie's not getting go first. But like, look, let's compare what's happened so far with Bob McKenzie's list. So Connor Bedard fine went to 1. He had Fantilli 2, like most people. It ended up being Leo Carlson. Fantilli, so that didn't happen. 4, he had Will Smith, and that did happen. He had 5 at Matvei Michkov, and that did not happen. It ended up being Reinbacher.
Yep.
Then he had Ryan Leonard at 6, which that did not happen because Simashev, who was projected to be 19th on Bob McKenzie's list, jumped up to 6th. 7th ends up being Matvei Michkov, so he drops down 2 spots from Bob's list. Reinbacher was 8th. He moves up 3 spots to 5. And 8th ended up being Ryan Leonard. So there was a lot of differences from Bob's list, which is usually not the case. This goes to show that while a lot of people were saying that you're going to get a talented player, you're going to get the player that you want, an elite player of some kind or whatever the case may be, an impact player in the top 10, there's been a lot of swapping. So teams went after what they think was the best player for them in that moment, and clearly organizational need as well. Because I'm pretty sure if you would go to Washington and they were able to open the mentality or open what the mindset they had going into this was their hope was to get Matvei Michkov, but they got Ryan Leonard. That's their consolation prize. That's the number 2. Anaheim goes into this and they go and take Leo Carlson instead of Fantilli. Now, is that going to be the big mistake for Anaheim? We don't know.
Stupid camera. I don't see that being a mistake. I just think at the end of the day, not to sound too much like a broken record, but I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, Reinbacher is going to be a good piece on the team. The question is, it's a bigger gamble on him to become a great piece on the team versus just being a piece on the team. And I feel like when you're drafting at 5 overall, you got to take a shot at a player who can really have a greater probability of hitting that superstardom.
I like this take. I'm not going to compare the 2 players that this person did, but the Reinbacher pick has healed my residual Sergachev trade bitterness. Truly a new era in Go Habs management.
I mean, that is an interesting way to look at it to make yourself feel a little better. I mean, it's hard to do those kind of comparisons because context is everything. And at the time, who was there ahead of Sergachev and who was taken after him and what could they have done and need and not need. But here's Dubis up there with Pittsburgh.
Well, Maxim Lapierre, right? Former Hab Maxim Lapierre. Somebody asks him Pietrangelo or Ovechkin to make the comparison, right? Because they're saying Pietrangelo, and to this person, Pietrangelo and Reinbacher are comparables. So he says, "On a not Pietrangelo selon moi." So then somebody goes, 5th overall, you waste your pick on a player with a high potential defensively, with all the talent that was available. And he goes, yeah, that's right. The 50 people who recruit and scout 24/7 don't know anything about anything, right?
Okay, so first off, Jaeger goes to Pittsburgh with Dubas.
Well, hold on, I just want to say this. So somebody then responds to Max Lapierre. He goes, "You've watched this person play how many times, Max Lapierre?" And his response is, "You forgot that I played 5 years in the Swiss leagues, right?"
Burn? Drop the mic? What?
That's a burn. That's a drop the mic. That means the guy has followed that player, has known about him for a long time.
Yeah,
he goes, "I haven't watched them 1,000 times, but I've watched them enough to make my own opinion because I watch a lot of Swiss league games." till this day.
He's going to be a good player. Do not be upset that David Reinbacher is a Hab. Where you could be upset should be that they didn't take the best player available. That fundamentally is going to be the difference maker. Does Reinbacher bring his game up?
I'm going to know you. They still got the best defenseman available.
But it's a dumb thing to say.
No, it's not. It's a fact.
It is.
It is a fact.
He could be the best defenseman available, but there could be 25 better overall players. And that would mean that what? Oh, you took him all the way up there. Oh, you got your best defenseman available. Fine. But he's still listed 25th best overall.
We're not talking about how where was the 14th pick? Was Pittsburgh. And they took Braden Yeager. Okay, he was projected 15th.
Yeah. No, everything is kind of falling where it typically
not
is.
really. Nate Danielson was picked 9th, and he was projected at 16.
Yeah,
Simashev 19 was picked at 6.
Well, that's Arizona.
Benson dropped. Tom Willander was picked. Where was he picked again? 12? 11? Can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. Here. You're throwing all these guys at me. Here's this guy, Reinbacher and Newhook. That's who they're walking away with. These are not bad players, but it's just meh.
That's the person who's never even watched Newhook play. You guys are a lot of people don't understand. Newhook's got a lot of upside. The guy's got a lot of skill. He was just caught behind a stacked Colorado Avalanche team who happened to have won the cup. He was part of a Stanley Cup winning atmosphere. He was behind a player like Nathan McKinnon to show him a certain professional way. This kid is going to surprise a lot of people. He's gonna shut a lot of people's mouths up throughout the season, barring any injuries, of course, because Montreal is starting to be known for injuries. But hey, congratulations, we got a new medical staff.
Woo!
Hey, given what happened last season, that might be one of the best moves this year on the offseason.
Habs were looking to see if Smith or Carlson fell to them with Reinbacher there. If they didn't, they'd trade down only for an exceptional offer. They probably knew trading down would cost them Reinbacher, or maybe they just wanted to piss off Twitter experts. Yeah. Where I sit back, I mean, again, right, you never know. And I think Arizona literally after Reinbacher took the next best defenseman, right? Was that it? Simachev is a defenseman?
He's not even the next best. He wasn't projected to be the next best.
But they took a defenseman. So correct. You could argue that if they traded down past Arizona, Arizona might have taken Reinbacher because he was there. Possibly. Or maybe Simachev was their guy. At that point, that's where the L comes in because he could have gotten more out of a team and still got his guy if that's who you really wanted. And I think overall, I don't think people would have been that pissed. Now, again, I find it funny, and I'm going to say it this way. Kent Hughes and all of management, for any team for that matter, does not care if the fan base are upset with their pick. They're doing their job. And it's going to either work out or it's not going to work out. It's odd that he would have done this and taken him at 5, not done any movement, not kind of gotten more prospects in the cupboard from a trade or a cap dump elsewhere or something, right? Unload some of those big contracts that they're trying to get rid of. Something. It just seems very lackluster. That's
lackluster because you made the same mistake that most people do every year is you build it all up of all these possible PlayStation-esque trade scenarios, and then when it doesn't happen, it's like, oh. It didn't happen. They picked the player that they feel and felt was the best player for the Montreal Canadiens.
That is not how you do a draft. I'm sorry. You take the best talent out there and you make it work. That's how you do it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you. I didn't know you were a scout and a general manager that you know exactly how drafts work. It's not a perfect science.
I'm not claiming to be a scout or a GM. What I'm saying is, in a time-honored tradition of drafting the best player available, more times than not, that works out best for the team. And more times than not, when a team drafts based on their need, they do it
I don't care if
incorrectly.
I get crucified for this. I really don't. I don't care if people rip into me. But the player, the player that fit best for the Montreal Canadiens got picked fourth.
Matthew
Now, do
Wood
I?
is going to Nashville.
That's interesting. Wood.
6'4", 197 pound.
That's winger.
Winger. Yep. Left winger.
He was projected 11th on Bob's list,
Mhm.
and
Could
he
be
got
a big
picked.
steal.
Could be.
He got picked. What is this? 15th. Wow.
He's got a lot of. He's got to work on his skating. This guy, Matthew Wood. But he's a good old Canadian kid.
Here's McKenna with his comment. The Habs, man, I'm worried. Slavkovsky and Reinbacher instead of Cooley and Michkov. Ouch. Would have been nice to have two guys like that in the prospect pool, but maybe history will show them to be geniuses. Maybe.
Okay, maybe. And maybe if we would have had Cooley and Michkov, we would have then been complaining, wow, the Montreal Canadiens are a very small team. They're a very highly skilled, very talented, but very small. Very small. When your first line of players are 5'7", 5'11", 5'10 and a half, and 5'10 and a half. But we got Kirby Doc though. We got Kirby Doc. He's a tall boy. He's a tall boy. Do you understand Slavkovsky has the potential to be a freaking machine on the ice?
I am a pro Slavkovsky guy. You are
I'm
preaching
not,
to the choir.
I'm not saying it to you.
I have high hopes for him. But that is, I mean, it is. I mean, it's the shockwaves are still being sent out, and I mean, a lot of people are now seemingly turning to meme poor Carey Price, who they're all saying like the pick was so stunning he couldn't even get it out of his mouth, and all these other jokes. I mean, that was poor guy, man. Poor guy.
Wonder, Kent Hughes had to jump in and say it was planned this way.
What was a
I don't
joke?
know I guess so. Priyantha Emrith writes, Habs David Reinbacher says he had a feeling Montreal might draft him, but then pushed that thought out of his mind to just enjoy the moment of the NHL draft. But he was always hoping the Habs would be the team to select him. This might be a guy that's going to thrive in Montreal. He's going to love being a Montreal Canadian, as long as we don't have certain fans that'll shit on him because he got drafted by the Montreal Canadiens.
Listen, don't shit on him just to shit on him. It's not his fault. I mean, anybody who's shitting on the player is just you're a shitty person. There's no reason to do that. Well, it is, but it is. It is. That's a really dumb thing to do. There's no reason to shit on the player. They did nothing. It wasn't their fault where they're drafted. They're happy. Let them be happy. But at the end of the day, everybody's allowed their opinions, of course, and you can sit back and judge today, and you're also entitled to change that opinion down the road when you start to educate yourself a bit more on David Reinbacher, who I presume the majority of fans know nothing about. They've heard the name. They were sitting back and probably thinking to themselves, wouldn't that be funny if they took Reinbacher at 5? And it ended up happening. Now, again, you got to keep the faith a little bit in management. It could be the first sort of misstep. It could be. Time will tell. I don't think he's coming next year, so you can already get that out of your mind. I think Vito mentioned earlier that he's going to do another year in school, and then he'll probably come. So you're not going to see him next year, I would imagine. And you hope that given where the analysis is of his game today, you hope that he's able to take that next step and become a little bit more offensive. And then perhaps you do have a cornerstone defenseman that you could leave on the back end and that are incredibly difficult to get.
Dude, the back end is set for like the next 10 years. It really is. Hudson Reinbacher. Somebody put up combinations already. Now this is their own. But Hudson Reinbacher, Guli Mayu, Engstrom Barron. And that's not even factoring in that there's still Harris there. There's still other defensemen that were out there. There's Struble down. Who knows what's going to happen with that guy? There's a lot to be excited for, especially from the back end. There's still work to be done on this rebuilding team. There are still drafts coming up. There's still.
I mean,
we get to see Slav mature. We get to see Doc probably take another step to his game. We get to see Nick Suzuki finally, barring any injury, playing with a full season of Cole Caulfield.
It messes with me a little bit to see like just the visceral reaction that people are having. I mean, it was shocking.
But it was expected. It was expected. I think that even if they would have drafted Matvei Michkov, you're going to have certain fans that are going to say that, yeah, we got a very skilled player.
A lot less than those that are out there now.
What happens if he doesn't come?
It's just like you
can't
burn your jersey.
Kent Hughes says the scouts loved Reinbacher from the start and has progressed during the year. They thought they would pick him, but weren't sure until the first 4 picks were made. Hughes says his defense is now well established for the future. That's why they did it. If Will Smith was there, they were going to take Will Smith. But now their defense is literally set for a long time.
Until they all play in the NHL. And until one of them clearly comes out as being, yes, you're looking at him and you're like, yeah, for sure, this is a number 1D. I'm not sold. They all look very promising. They all have tremendous amount of talent. But you need a top guy. And they're all prospects currently. You can't point to one and say this is the guy. For sure, this is the guy. You don't know that. I mean, you can make the same argument about any of the other players that they might have taken. You never know. But it would just seem that it's more likely to happen with the guys they could have picked at 5 up front than it is with a guy in the back. That's sort of where I look at it. But to come back to my point, reading through all of these incredibly angry fans that seem to think that they could just say anything on the internet, you guys got to chill, man. You got to chill just a little bit. Let it marinate. Give it time. Let the kid come. Let's see what happens. Let's see what else Kent Hughes is cooking. There's going to be more movement. They have too many players on the roster. Things are going to be shipped out. Who knows what he's going to do? Already, this is proven to me is nobody knows what this guy's doing. Nobody had a pulse on this. Nobody leaked it. Nobody said it was going to be Reinbacher. You had some mock drafts that had the projection of where they put the players in terms of where they think they're going to go, but nobody knew. So chill it out, embrace the kid, make him feel welcome. It's kind of like the slap pick of last year. Like it was, oh my God. But like after a while, I feel like the majority of fans kind of, came to their senses and we're like, okay, we're team slap now. Get behind Ryan.
I think the whole people accepted the slap pick a little more. I mean, there's still some fans that are still talking about it to this day and saying, bringing Shane Wright and whatnot. But I think the fact that Shane Wright dropped 2-4 made people realize, oh, okay, because people started wondering, question, maybe there's something that we don't know. We really don't know because 2 other teams passed up on him. And 2 of those teams were teams that wanted a center as well.
Wild stuff. I'll tell you.
That was what was it? 16th pick that was taken there?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I don't know what I'm really sitting back and waiting for.
No, I think
I'm hopeful for a trade. There hasn't been any trades. There hasn't been any kind of.
I don't think there will be. I think we'll get to pick number 20 and we'll call it.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Put in enough time here?
I think we put in enough time here. I don't think the Habs are going to do anything else right now. I think if anything gets done, it'll be tomorrow. Montreal might try to acquire a second-round pick.
That's true. In all likelihood, I mean, granted, the picks end up being like Like they end up trading the picks around like hockey cards at that point in the future. But the second day is when a lot more movement happens. So it'd be nice to see tomorrow if they're able to unload one of the contract players they need to get rid of for like a late round pick or something. That would be a nice little piece to trail off at the end with.
Again, they've already got a lot of the same types of players that they would be drafting in their system. That's why I think they're going after players like Newhook and things like that. These are former first round picks. They're guys who have a bit of an NHL experience. They're going after things like that now.
I'll tell you another thing. I mean, to single him out, because I mean, you got to give him his dues. A lot of people, he's a polarizing character. A lot of people don't like this particular gentleman, but some people I imagine like him. Grant McKegg. This is back-to-back years. He was pretty much right on the money. He had Slav going number one last year, I would say well before a lot of other people. And then this year, he had Reinbacher to the Habs for a long time until he switched to Leonard. But he even writes here, he goes, when I was putting it together, I had Reinbacher there. Then I switched to Leonard. But both picks make a lot of sense to me. Be patient, Habs fans. He's going to help the Habs win. You got to give him dues. I mean, he called it again. He called it again. That's impressive. I'll have to say that much. I mean, listen, I hope it works out. Like a lot of people are, the ones that are a little bit more like not thrilled with the pick are sitting there saying, listen, it's not a sexy pick, but maybe it ends up working out and it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I know. Gotta give credit to Grant McKegg for sure for 2 years in a row.
Pretty impressive. David Reinbacher seems like a really nice, sweet, humble kid, and it's a shame that so many so-called Habs fans will likely troll him personally on social media. Nonetheless, he'll have something that they don't. He just got drafted into the NHL. I mean, that's
David
from
Reinbacher
the Habs Reddit.
David Reinbacher is a high-quality pick, the kind of 25-plus minutes defenseman you need and want on the ice to close games, to get through playoff series. Goalie Reinbacher should be a joy to watch for years to come.
I mean, I don't know how many different ways I can keep coming back and saying the same thing, but I'm going to say it again. He is a good player. Could be a great player. Will be a very good player on the team. I'm happy that he's on the team. The difference is, or the caveat is, I feel like there was greater upside to some of the other guys available that were there at 5. So that's sort of my last thought on it. We're pushing our time now, I think. We're almost 2.5 hours in. There's still a little bit more to go. I don't suspect that the Habs are going to make any more movements tonight, and that's really what we're focused on. We're dropping now into the later teens, so I think we're probably going to call it here. The VOD, I think, will be up on YouTube, and we'll have links to it from Twitter for anybody watching this the next day. You can watch it, and we might even try to just isolate the section that's about the pick to help kind of cut through a lot of the 2.5 hours that we're here. But everybody who popped in that came by, thanks a lot. John in particular, leaving some comments. Thanks, buddy. That was really cool. And yeah, so thanks for being here with us. Different kind of evening, shocks here and there. But on that happy note, enjoy the rest of the draft if you're watching. And this was Get Pucked. Take care, guys.
Bye.